golf. I think the game's changing a lot. I think the way I learned to play golf is not the way people learn today. I'm learning new things about how to play on tour, how to kind of survive on tour, keep pace with this new generation, or try to at least. But there is no perfect with golf.
Scott, welcome to The Scoop.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me. So I went with vanilla with Jimmy's for us because we're at the Travelers and they have some ice cream for us.
Beautiful.
But I was told that now you're not on dairy much, but you do like desserts, right?
I like ice cream, yeah.
What's your
absolutely.
go-to?
A good vanilla bean is always good, actually. And that's pretty funny because my whole family kind of calls me vanilla. And I guess it kind of ties in with like the beige clothing and the vanilla, and I'm pretty boring.
So I read an interesting story about how you ended up in Vegas for college. Because you didn't visit the school, right?
No.
What happened there? How did you end up there?
I played a summer of junior golf in the States when I was about 16 or 17, and with the goal of getting to the US Junior Championship, and that was a big deal for juniors, obviously. I had no idea about this whole college recruiting thing. It had never really come across my radar. At that point, no real notable Australians had come to college. That's unfair, there were some, but it wasn't a big thing. We had our own thing going on in Australia, so it wasn't really on the radar. But I did get recruited and I met some coaches that summer. And then when they sent down their prospectus or brochure, whatever, Vegas had the nicest magazine. It was all glossy and nice and like properly done. And I'm like, okay, I'll go there.
And that was it?
That was it. The others were like photocopied sheets with a butterfly clip. And they're great schools too. I know that now, but I just picked the fanciest magazine.
And how long were you there? A year?
I went a full year, and I started the fall of the second year and made it a few weeks into that.
And then what was the decision like to go pro? You were just playing really well and...
I felt like to move forward at that point, I needed to not spend the next 3 years in college. My dream going to college was to be a pro. I think looking back on it, it was an incredible experience. I think it was the most challenging year of my life probably, and I probably learned the most. I was way out of my comfort zone going over there, and looking back it was a great thing, but I also felt like in that environment I wasn't going to thrive the next few years, and I wanted to keep progressing. So I did stay amateur for about 6 more months, and I was invited to some professional tournaments and I played well in them, and that's when I was like, okay, I know I'm good enough to be a pro. So
your caddy, Bussy, how did he end up on your bag, and why do you think you work well together?
Well, Bussy and I have been mates for over 20 years.
Wow.
He's caddied for a long time. There have been a couple times over all these years where we've tried to line up, like, can you come and caddy for me? And it just hasn't worked for whatever reason. He's caddied for some friends of mine, and I wasn't going to really poach him or try to and get anyone upset. So it just lined up this year recently, and at this point in my career, having a mate out there and someone who knows me quite well and can keep me in a good frame of mind or put me in a good frame of mind, I think that's really valuable. So I'm really fortunate he's back out doing it, because he's been doing some other things the last few years. So it's nice to be able to share some time on the course and go out with the common goal, and hopefully it doesn't mess up our friendship.
So pretty much any time a swing video of you is online, everyone's freaking out, just like picture perfect swing. Whose swings do you like on tour? If you couldn't have your own, whose would you want?
There are lots of guys' swings I like watching. I mean, right now everyone loves watching Ludwig Åberg. It's easy to watch. He makes it look pretty simple. It's got a nice tempo. It's powerful. The lines look great. it's easy to like Ludwig. I love watching Rory play. The power and the balance is appealing to me. But then growing up, I love watching DJ swing the club as well. But growing up, big inspirations for me was Greg Norman, Fred Couples, and Ernie Els. And then when Tiger turned pro, that was obviously everyone was watching him as he turned pro. But they're swings that really stand out to me that had an impact, and at times I've tried to mimic.
So you seem very calm at all times. Even you kind of said at the beginning your nickname, but is there what's the most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
I think the most nervous I ever get is the first tee at the Masters every year on Thursday. I think it's just the build up, the anticipation. It's been 8 months or more since we've played a major championship, and of course it's one every pro wants to win, and I think that's the most nervous I get. I think it may surprise some people, but of course you're nervous with a putt to win a tournament, but you're way more in control at that point than the start of the day. You've dealt with your nerves all day and you've managed your way around the golf course, calmed yourself down, and you're in some kind of rhythm, good or bad, like you're adapting to what's going on. It's much easier playing the last hole of a tournament than teeing off on the first, and it's just that build up of expectation and anticipation, I think.
Do you try to calm those nerves, or do you think you just lean into them because you're about to start the tournament?
No, you have to kind of find a way to calm a little bit, because it can get away from you. Mm-hmm. So I think, these breathing techniques and things like this, they all work. They do. You have to figure it out. It's a bit of trial and error. But I find Augusta is one where you really want to calm down quickly, because the first 7 holes are very difficult there. It's not like you ease into the tournament can be over with a bad first few holes. So you need to get a hold of yourself very quickly and hopefully calm down. So that's the challenge. That's a challenge for me.
So you're wearing tan right now.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about this. Yeah. You had a stretch of events a few years ago where it was tan sweater. What was that on purpose because people were picking up on it, or what happened there?
Yeah, it was a tan sweater one week in LA, and I like playing golf in a sweater. I like playing golf in long sleeves. I find that quite comfortable. It was like 8 days in a row I wore the same tan sweater, but I like the sweaters.
It works.
Sweater weather is my kind of golf.
Me too. This Pinehurst was a little warm.
That was warm. Today's getting warm. The ice cream is
melting.
Nearly done.
Do you have a favorite pro to be paired with in events?
I always used to love playing with Ernie Els. That was like a comfortable pairing for me. We've been mates. He was great to me when I was a young pro, sharing info on the course, on life, on traveling, and it was easy for me to kind of see his rhythm. I enjoyed watching him play when I was playing with him, and you could kind of feed off his rhythm, and that's nice. And then on the opposite, playing with Tiger early in my career was just so difficult. Like he was incredible, intimidating. The crowd was moving, and I actually had to not watch him play when I played with him. That was my kind of trick, to be able to play my own game and not get influenced by this Tiger mania.
Would you you wouldn't?
Yeah, I'd literally turn my back to, because I'd played with. If you go back and look, guys shot 76 every time I played with Tiger, and after a few times of doing that, I'm like, this is hopeless.
Yeah.
It's going to ruin my week, of course. So I just got in my own world and actually turned my back, so I didn't see anything that was going on.
Do you have a favorite memory with Tiger? If playing with him was hard, maybe a favorite?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I remember clearly, I wasn't in the tournament, the 2001 Players, but he ended up winning, and I followed him in a practice round. Butch Harmon was coaching him, and I was being coached by Butch, and I got to walk inside the ropes. And seeing him hit shots, there was great players in his group that day, and we were all just kind of in awe of his ability to hit a high 2-iron from 260 yards with a blade club and old technology by today's standards. The talent and prowess was incredible.
So 2013 Masters, looking back on that win, what are the moments that stick out the most to you, 11 years later?
The playoff. I mean, birdieing the 10th hole in the playoff. I don't know if I've birdied it since. It's like one of those incredibly difficult holes, and everything kind of fell in the right place. I think it was just great golf from me, great golf from Angel, and it's not exactly how you would imagine winning the Masters. You picture the flowers and it's beautiful blue skies, and it was really grey, dark, overcast and rainy, but the atmosphere was so great. And it probably is with the blue skies too, but it felt really intense, and that's how I remember it anyway.
What was your Champions dinner like?
It was good dinner. I serve steak, which seems to be popular amongst the champions there, and I served my mum's pavlova dessert. Also, I brought good wine from Australia for the wine snobs in the room. They like that.
So you just put on your watch here a few moments ago. You're a big watch guy, I hear. Do you have like a favorite? I think you got one or after you won the Masters, right? Is there one that you find yourself going back to the most?
Interestingly, no, but that's a special watch for me. Maybe because it's special, I don't wear it so much. But this one is actually a bit sentimental. I've been a Rolex ambassador for 23 years, and this is actually the first Rolex I ever got. I was 21 years old, and I picked like a gold watch. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's because of that reason, it's the watch I've had the longest, and I still think it looks great today.
Yeah.
And I sometimes laugh at myself that's the watch a 20-year-old kid picked
out.
yeah, for his first watch.
Just a few more for you here. So you just played in your 92nd consecutive major.
Right.
Looking back, besides the Masters, are there any that stick out to you as your favorites? Maybe venue or just a good memory?
Oh,
from the
so
week?
many.
Yeah.
I mean, the majors are great. The Open Championship, I mean, it's hard to separate any of them, but if you're going to rank them, of course the Masters is so special, but then the Open Championship, it's not in the States. Being from Australia, I think as a kid we were quite closely connected because we're part of the Commonwealth with Great Britain, and we've had the King and Queen on our money, so like we're kind of connected, the Open Championship. But they all have their own feel, and the Open Championship, the stadium that they kind of create on the 18th every year is unique. Even the noise the crowd makes, it must be the British noise. I don't know what it is, but it's such a great atmosphere. And I usually, a lot of times over my career, I go the week before and I spend the whole week there the week before playing the Open Championship course. And like, those weeks are some of my favorite weeks because I'm playing the Open Championship course. It's closed. I'm the only person playing a lot of the time. Like at St Andrews the week before, there's no one on the course. That is really one of the perks of playing as a pro golfer. I don't know why more guys don't do it, but I've loved those weeks and getting to stay in the towns. St Andrews is special, but all the towns where the Opens are great fun.
Awesome. And then my final one, I ask everyone this: a career low moment, a career high moment, and then just a lesson you've learned throughout your professional career.
Oh man. A career low moment, I mean, probably somewhere in 2009, I was just really, really struggling for the first time in my career to put anything together. I think I missed 5 cuts in a row, and I know there are bigger struggles than that, but I was really lost, and I was kind of fed up with it, and it was one of those moments where you had to kind of figure out how to grind your way out of it, and for me that was the first time I really had had to do that. It doesn't sound terrible. I don't think I have really had terrible experiences. I've been lucky to play a lot of good golf for a lot of years. But that was a standout, like, hang on, what's going on? My game's falling apart. This is not good. So that was a big self-check at that moment. High point, I've had lucky high point. I think being number one in the world, looking back on it, I mean, I've won a major, and that was probably my best win, of course. But getting to number one when I turned pro seemed like that childhood dream was not realistic anymore. Tiger was so dominant, and I know a couple of guys did make it in a 10 or 12 year period, but Tiger pretty much just was number one. And so to stick at it and then finally get there, I think it was 13 or 14 years after I turned pro, I think it was probably a high moment. I didn't keep it very long, but I was there. So that was good. And what have I learned? I'm always learning stuff. I think the game's changing a lot. I think the way I learned to play golf is not the way people learn today. And I think there's probably a balance in there somewhere of a bit of both is good maybe, but it's all, I'm learning new things about how to play on tour, how to kind of survive on tour, keep pace with this new generation, or try to at least. But there is no perfect with golf. I think at this point I don't chase perfection. And that's one thing I have learned over all these years.
Awesome. Adam, thank you so much for joining me. This was
worries.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching The Scoop. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because we have a lot of fun guests coming your way.